What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, legendary, former two-time heavyweight world champion, former undisputed, iconic, legendary heavyweight world champion, Iron Mike Tyson, comes off of what was seen to be a draw in his legendary showdown with four-division world champion, former pound-for-pound king, Roy Jones Jr. last night on Triller. That fight ended in a draw. Mike Tyson won every second of every round of that fight. Roy Jones did a lot of excessive holding in the fight. It was a eight-round, 2-minute fight, 2-minute, 8-round fight in which Mike Tyson seemed every bit of, not of a shell of itself, right? He seemed to have, something left in the tank. And there's a lot left to be desired with Mike Tyson. Now, obviously, a lot of people feel like Mike Tyson could compete with today's heavyweights. That's not going to happen. Mike Tyson is 54 years of age. Mike Tyson hadn't fought until last night. 15 years he was out the ring since 2005, in which he lost to Kevin McBride. He got knocked out by Kevin McBride. So Mike Tyson has been relatively inactive. So he looked good for his age, 54 years old. Roy Jones styles make fights, right? Roy Jones relied on his reflexes, athletic ability, and that's since long been faded. Roy Jones was holding on for dear life. The referee allowed Roy Jones to hold on for the first half of every round, so that way Mike Tyson, he rendered him helpless, right? He wasn't able to create space. He wasn't able to, let his hands go, throw the combinations. But when he did have space and he did have opportunities, he had reminiscence of his old self. Not 1986 version of Mike Tyson, but 1990s version of Mike Tyson, or early 2000 versions of Mike Tyson, right? Obviously, Father Time is undefeated, and Mike Tyson, like I said, is 54 years of age. He's been out the ring for 15 years. You're not going to get 1988 version of Mike Tyson. That's long gone. But he did look good for a 54-year-old man. He looked active. He wasn't huffing and puffing. He seemed to be a lot frustrated. The fact that Roy Jones just kept excessively holding on. It was like a UFC grappling match for the first minute of every single round. Then Roy Jones would let him go. He was trying to survive. He didn't want to get hit with anything big, and the referee didn't want Roy Jones to get hit with anything big. So they were, hindering Mike Tyson from being Mike Tyson, right? He couldn't let his combinations go. Every time he did land something big, Roy Jones grabbed on. The referee was not saying break. He was just standing there looking at them. So obviously it was an exhibition. Obviously Roy Jones is 51 years of age, and nobody wants to see Roy Jones get hurt. Nobody wants to see any of these guys get hurt, right? So for that, Mike Tyson looked good, though. Mike Tyson, after the fight, he said he felt great. He said he definitely looking forward to doing it again. He's getting his confidence back. He says that, it was good to knock off the ring rust. And then Mike Tyson calls out fellow Brooklyn native, fellow Brownsville native, fellow New York native, fellow former two-time heavyweight world champion who turns 49 years of age in December, Shannon the Cannon Briggs. Shannon Briggs hasn't fought since 2016, May of 2016. He got a knockout victory. He's actually been on a 5-fight knockout streak, from 2014 to 2016 was the last time he was active. He was on a knockout streak. Shannon Briggs turns 49 in December 2nd, I believe. Shannon Briggs is 6'4", 80-inch arm reach. So he's 5 years younger than Mike Tyson. But it's a huge fight. Shannon Briggs finished his career 60-6 with 1 draw, 60 wins, 6 losses, 1 draw, 53 by way of knockout. He himself was knocked out 2 times in his career, and he has 1 draw on his resume. So Shannon Briggs is definitely younger. He's definitely more active. He's definitely bigger, stronger than Roy Jones Jr. He has an 80-inch arm reach. Mike Tyson has a 71-inch arm reach. Mike Tyson is 5'10.5", so he's going to be at a distinct disadvantage. So Shannon Briggs is going to have an advantage. So with that said, that's going to be a huge fight. When Mike Tyson was at the height of his reign, and Shannon Briggs was at the height of his reign, The Barclays Center in Brooklyn was not in existence, okay? Now, when you look at it from this standpoint, Brownsville, Brooklyn, and the Barclays Center is probably about, you want to say, 5 minutes apart from one another, okay? So it's pretty close. It's walking distance for a lot of people. So with that said, you know, a lot of people would show up. A lot of people would, you know, would support this event. And this would be a massive, massive event on the part of, you know, Triller, because Triller I think they have a partnership with Mike Tyson. This would be a massive event for the legendary boxing league that Mike Tyson is trying to promote, and for the sport of boxing. Mike Tyson yesterday was breaking the internet at 54 years of age. Shannon Briggs and Mike Tyson selling the fight. Shannon Briggs was on live, and Shannon Briggs said that Mike Tyson and his team texted him and told him, get ready. Shannon Briggs said, hold on. He said he was taken back but excited at the same time. He stated that, you know, hold on. What y'all mean, you know, get ready? You know what I mean? So he said he was excited at the same time, but it was like, I'm always ready. That's what Shannon Briggs said. So he said, man, I'm excited. He said, I wanted to be this fight. He says, but at the same token, I didn't want to be this fight because I wanted to allow Mike Tyson, he got his confidence back. He knocking off ring rust. You know, he's getting back in the groove of things. He said, I didn't want to be that guy, you know, to discourage him. He said, I still look up to him. He's like a big brother to me. He says, but in that ring, I'm going to fight like my life depends on it, or my freedom depends on it, is what he said. So, you know, he said that, you know, he definitely respects Mike Tyson. He looks up to Mike Tyson. He says, but the build-up for this fight, the promotion for this fight will be huge. So I said to Shannon Briggs, I said, this has to happen at the Barclays Center. He said he would rather it happen at Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. He said, I think that this is a fight that needs to take place at Yankee Stadium. I like the Barclays Center. He said that everybody will show up to the Yankee Stadium. Obviously, it's just a train ride from Brownsville to Yankee Stadium. But the fact that it's in downtown Brooklyn is just more convenient for people to get to than Yankee Stadium. And, you know, the fact that is you don't have to, weather is not going to play a part, you know, it's not going to be a factor in it. You know, there's a lot of different variables that goes to Yankee Stadium, because Yankee Stadium, you have time limits when you can have Yankee Stadium available for the Yankees. Obviously, they're playing. So the spring and the summer is off limits for Yankee Stadium, pretty much, unless you got to work around their schedule, and hopefully, you know, they open on a Saturday night. But the Barclays Center, you don't have to worry about that in the spring and the summer, because NBA basketball is over with at that point in time. So, you know, and it is more convenient for everybody to get to, and it's more notable for everybody in Brooklyn, you know, to show up. And he said the press conference, he would like the press conference to be at the Barclays Center, the free press conference where they will invite everybody to come and be in attendance. The fans could be in attendance, he said, but he want the actual fight to be at Yankee Stadium. You know, obviously, for obvious reasons. Yankee Stadium is a bigger venue. Yankee Stadium is a more known venue. But Barclays Center, obviously, Yankee Stadium is more of an attraction. There's a lot more going on. Obviously, people will show up to Yankee Stadium not just for the fight, but for other reasons. The Yankees are the most successful franchise probably in all of sports. So, you know, it's an attraction in itself to see Yankee Stadium, to see the statues, to see the attraction in itself. So it's more of an attraction in Brooklyn Barclays Center. The Nets have never won a championship. So, you know, Yankees have won, I believe, 27, 28 championships. So for obvious reason, Yankee Stadium is a much bigger arena, much bigger venue. It holds more fans. You can have more fans in attendance. So with that said, you know, obviously a lot of people, you know, the attraction of Yankee Stadium will sell itself, okay? But the Barclays Center is more known for boxing. If you're talking about boxing, the Barclays Center is boxing, right? So, you know, I just think that the Yankee Stadium holds, you can have up to 60,000 people in Yankee Stadium, okay? I believe the Barclays Center you know, may hold, I believe it's, yeah, 19,000 people. So that's a huge difference, right? You're talking about 3-4 times the amount of people you could hold in Yankee Stadium. 60,000 to 20,000 is a huge number, huge difference. So 3 times the amount you could hold in Yankee Stadium. But the attraction the Barclays Center brings for boxing, and the attraction that is in Brownsville, the selling point that is in Brownsville. Mike Tyson walking around Brooklyn, he's known, you know, for Brooklyn. You're gonna bring, it's gonna be star-studded in the Barclays Center. It's just more intimate. It's just more convenient, and it's more sellable to the boxing fans, because now you're talking about 2 guys from Brooklyn. You selling the Barclays Center. It's just bigger. You know, Yankee Stadium is in the Bronx. It's not in Brooklyn, right? So now you're selling a fight in Yankee Stadium. When it's in Brooklyn at the Barclays Center, you selling an event. You understand? You selling Brooklyn. You selling Mike Tyson, Shannon Briggs. It's just a bigger fight in the Barclays Center, in my opinion. But I'm excited. Mike Tyson is excited. Mike Tyson wants to have, you know, more fights. He said he wanted Roy Jones to be on his undercard and be a part of the next event that they put on. They informed Shannon Briggs, who stated that he's always ready. Like I said, Shannon Briggs will be 49 December 2nd, I believe. So in a few days, Shannon Briggs will be 49 years old. Mike Tyson 54 years old. So Shannon Briggs said he's going to give him a little, you know, a few months to recover and get better. Obviously, 54 years of age, you need much more time than a normal 3 month in between, 3 to 4 month in between span. So I'm expecting to see this possibly take place in about early summer, Shannon Briggs versus Mike Tyson. It's going to be a huge event. I'm campaigning for it to be at the Barclays Center. But let's see how this all plays out. He looked great last night, but when you talk about him and Tyson Fury, or him and Deontay Wilder, him and Anthony Joshua, or any of these other heavyweights, you know, his speed and reflexes wasn't up to that ability. For this Legend League, it's definitely up to par for that. But for, you know, actual ranking system and meaningful fights, that should not happen, and it will not happen. Mike Tyson even stated that he likes the fact that the Legend League is more exciting than fighting for a world championship. So it definitely, according to Trilla's co-owner, he stated that it's on its way to breaking Conor McGregor, Floyd Mayweather numbers. That's yet to be seen. Obviously, we're not even 48 hours since the fight, so I don't know. He says it's trending that way, so I don't know what numbers he have yet, or official numbers will be released soon, hopefully. He said, though, he expects it to break Conor McGregor, Floyd Mayweather numbers, and that's massive. So let's see how this plays out. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue, Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, or one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.